Except you be living under a rock or in space. I don't know, are there people living in space yet? I can't keep up. Anyways, except you be living in either of those places, you probably heard about From Scratch, Netflix's recently released limited series that is based off Tembilo's memoir, or more likely you've even watched it. So today, that's what I want to talk about. I want to share a few lessons that I picked from the series, so stick with me. So I think a bit over a week ago, say a week and a half ago, a couple of days after From Scratch came out on Netflix, my husband and I were watching TV and we're trying to figure out, oh, what new show or new series we should watch on Netflix, as is our custom. And then I saw From Scratch, but for some reason it didn't jump out to me, it didn't call out to me. I'm not even sure why. So I was the one with the remote, so I kept skipping to check other movies and other. I didn't know it was even a series at the time. But then my husband said, oh, it looks interesting, why not let's check out the trailer at least. So we checked out the trailer and I said, oh, this isn't bad. But then I saw this thing is a limited series. I don't personally like limited series because I feel like they only keep you wanting more. They give you, look at Lincoln Lawyer and all these great limited series, you have to wait. Well, it's the same thing with every series, to be honest. You have to wait for a period of time. But the point is that they are shorter. So it's like they give you appetizer and then they disappear. No main course, no dessert, nothing. So anyways, that just made me a bit feel a bit sketchy about it. But it was like, oh, the trailer seems good, yada yada yada. So like, fine, Zoe Saldana, it can't be that bad, right? And then only for us to start watching it. But even during the series, I found that wow, this is based off Tembilo's memoir. This is based off somebody's actual life. Somebody actually went through this thing. And let's just say that by the time we were done, my husband that doesn't, is a much bigger movie critic than me. It was like he's going to tell everybody about it. Everybody has to watch it. It was such a good series. The mere fact that it actually happened, it's a real life story, even makes it more surreal. So anyways, when we were done, I realized, oh, there are so many lessons from this series. I feel like I should talk to my people on YouTube about it. So yeah, here I am, about to share a few things, well, at least 3 important things I feel like jumped out to me. So before I go on, if you watch the series, let me know in the comments what you picked from it, what struck you. Did you enjoy it? Did you cry? Your secret is safe with me. Let me know in the comments. So the first thing, or one of the most obvious things, to be honest, that jumped out to me from the story, and if you've watched the series, you'd probably agree with me, is the power of family. Because my God, I don't think Amy would have been able to go through half of the things she went through without her family. Because what? By the way, I don't think I can do this without spoilers here and there, so I apologize in advance if you haven't watched it. By the way, you should totally go and watch it after this video, of course. You should totally go and watch it. But yeah, for example, like I said, when her sister was mad at her and she noticed that something was up, yada yada yada, and she still came to meet her and ask her what's up, and that eventually served as a catalyst for Amy telling her what was going on, because Amy wasn't allowed to buy, she was honoring his desire, right? And that eventually, her sister asking her and showing up for her in that way, especially because her sister had shown that she was really mad at her, and that eventually served as a catalyst for all her family members getting involved and eventually being her pillars. And it was so touching because there are so many stories there, like, even if you are mad at someone doesn't mean that you can't show up for them. That's an entire video on its own. Another thing is the fact that if you don't completely agree with people's decisions, when something bad is happening to them or something negative is happening to them, it's not the time to start saying I told you so's here and there. Your job is just to show up for them. And that was something that we see in the life of our dad. From the beginning, our father was not in support of that relationship. It looks as if with time he started to grow on him. And to be honest, that's not so hard because Leno was a very sweet guy. He was a nice guy. It's very difficult. I feel like that's even one of the reasons why the story was even more painful. It's very difficult for anybody to not have liked him. So I feel like maybe Leno eventually grew on it at that. I don't know. But the point is that even though her father from the beginning wasn't in support of her even going to Italy in the first place, right? when everything happened, he didn't start wagging his finger up and like, I told you so, I did this, I did that. No, he was there for her in such beautiful ways. And that's a whole lesson in itself, to be honest. That's a whole video in itself. If somebody in our lives is going through something that we didn't even want them to even come an inch close to, the time when they are dealing with whatever it is they are dealing with, it's not the time for us to be saying, but I told you this, I advised you against this. No. Our job in such a season is just be there for them, to pray for them, to intercede for them, to be as present as we possibly can and as much as they allow. And still on family, I really love how they had a decent relationship with their mom, despite how dramatic she was, and despite the fact that just 20 years before that, she had walked out on them, meaning that they were pretty young. So their dad could have easily said, oh, your mom is not a good person, she walked out on us, she did this, and said a lot of things that would eventually taint their relationship with their mom. And he would have to an extent, he would have every right to do so, to be very honest. But it seems like their dad didn't do that. I don't know the whole story, but from the series, it seems like their dad didn't do that, or at least whatever happened, they still had a decent relationship with their mom. And I feel like it's very important. We should be careful as parents now. We should be careful not to allow our own wounds, not to pass down our wounds to the next generation coming, because it's a temptation that anybody can easily fall prey to. You know, it's very, very easy to fall prey to that. And we can see, it's not even rocket science, that their mom was pretty dramatic, for lack of a better word, but they still manage that relationship decently. It makes me give her dad again a lot of kudos, because I don't know what the details of their relationship was, and nobody can ever know. That's the truth. But it just means that because they were with him, it means that he probably didn't completely poison their minds against their mom, and that's something that I really appreciate. She probably also did her own part of not completely disappearing. Maybe she came back when they were older, maybe she was coming back a little, whatever the case, she probably also played her part. So that was very beautiful to see. I also love the fact that her stepmom and her birth mom, Amy's stepmom and her birth mom, had also a decent relationship, not overly friendly, but a decent relationship. And I feel like her stepmom is a low-key hero in the story too, because she had a lot of reasons to flip out and just be nasty and go off on her birth mom, but she didn't do that. She handled a lot of the rascals that came at her with a lot of dignity and a lot of elegance, and that was also so beautiful. Again, about the fact that there was also probably a precedent where nobody had, tried to make everything so bad that, oh, they cannot have at least be in the same room anymore. That wasn't the case. And I really, really admire their family structure for being able to navigate those kind of complexities very wisely. It was also something beautiful to see. So anyways, if you're watching this video now and you haven't spoken to anybody in your family for a while because they took a decision that you don't approve with, consider this a word to you to check up on them today. You don't know what they are dealing with. You don't know what is going on with them. Even if they made a decision or did something that you warned them against, let's say you even used rod and everything to warn them and they still did what they wanted. Your job right now is to just love them and to intercede for them. And if you believe they are really going the wrong way, like I said, intercede for them. Be as present for them as you can. Don't go wagging your your finger. Don't say wagging your tail. Don't go wagging your finger at them and say, I told you so, this is all your fault, you're so foolish, yada yada yada. No, our job is to just be present for people when they are going through stuff. And that's one thing I really admire. Also, I feel like one of my favorite scenes in the entire story was when Lino was in the hospital. Like I said, spoilers here and there, I'm really sorry. Lino was in the hospital and they all found a way, because they had said, oh, children are not allowed in this world. They all found a way to bring the daughter in. I feel like that was probably the highlight for me. That was so beautiful. I was so excited to see that creativity, the effort. I feel like it was so beautiful. And I feel like the low-key lesson there is that there's always a way, as long as it's not against the law or nobody's getting injured or anything, there's always a way to show up for people, even when we think we don't have the means. It was so beautiful to see. If you've not spoken to your family members, I know there's not everybody, don't come at me with everybody that is related to us with blood as a family. I know, but if God has decided that, oh, you and these people should come from the same bloodline, there's a reason behind it, and that's the absolute truth. So if you have such a privilege, say you have their phone number, it's not an estranged relationship that you don't even know anything about them. If you know at least how to reach them, consider this your sign today to reach out to your loved ones and just say hi. Just say hi, pray for them, reach out to them. Yeah, that's something I feel like what she says again. That's something I really love, and I really commend them below. That's the real owner of the story. I really commend her for sharing such a beautiful story with us. And to be honest, I feel like, again, with the family thing, I feel like the emphasis on the power of community, power of family is very important in this generation, because there's a tendency for us, because we're connected with socials here and there and WhatsApp and all these things, there's a tendency for us to think we are still connected to people that we have not spoken to in ages. But connection is different from connection. Connection has levels, and we know it. You and I know that that's the truth, because you see what somebody is posting, or you even have an idea where they are living because of what they post, or because you have their number. We have a tendency to feel close to them, but that's not the same thing as calling them once in a while, say hi and checking up on them. And you would agree with me that having a good community, I'll probably do another video on that, having a good community for different seasons of our life and in different ways can help us to live full lives even when we are not going through stuff. And also, Amy making sure that Leno saw his mom and sister when they were in Florence, or was this Selena? I can't remember. Anyways, when they were in his hometown, making the way she was able to find a way to make sure that they all saw each other was very beautiful. You could tell that Leno, we know it's not his real name now, but that's his name in the series, so let's stick with it. We could tell that Leno really appreciated it, and even those of us watching it really appreciated it on his behalf. It was so thoughtful. I feel like it says a lot about the concept of real love, being very sacrificial, putting the other person's needs above hers, because that was something that she knew mattered so much to him, and she tried to make it happen any way that she could, and it was very beautiful. It was very beautiful to see. Then the second thing I feel like also jumped out to me from this series is the power of forgiveness, and how it is also important that it happens very timely, because Leno and his dad, you already know if you've watched the series. I'm sorry again if you haven't. Leno and his dad had a very complex relationship, and you can choose to agree with the dad, you can choose to agree with Leno, but that's not the point. The point here is the fact that the reconciliation was done at the right time, because what happened is that eventually I'm doing a bad job of not spoiling it, I'm sorry. What happened to his dad eventually, and how it was almost like, if that reconciliation, if that forgiveness process did not happen when it did, the regret, I'm not sure which one would have weighed him down faster, to be honest. The regret of not completely letting everything, even though, to be honest, it wasn't like Leno was even the person that was ready to let it go. So yeah, but the regret would have still been a lot, that it didn't solve that it didn't fix that crack before they could see no more. And I feel like it is something that was really heavy on my heart while watching it. I feel like there are so many people in this position that you've tried, and the person, whoever the person, a dad, a mom, a sibling, doesn't want to let go whatever it is they are holding on to, even though it makes absolutely no sense to you. I'd still encourage you to try one more time. Just try one more time. Just consider this your friendly word from a random stranger. If you don't know a person, random stranger on the internet, just try one more time. The last thing I want to emphasize, there are many things from the story, but time has gone. I don't want to bore you too much or drop any more spoilers, but the last thing I want to emphasize on right now is the power of communication. Everybody talks about this when it comes to relationships. It's pretty mainstream, but I want to emphasize on it a little bit more, because one of the things that we saw, those of us that were watching it, Leno didn't know, but we that were watching it knew how much Amy was struggling, and she had every right to be. She was really struggling with many things. Her life had just really completely changed. Leno was, we can't even explain Leno's suffering. The suffering was in deeper, we understand, but Amy was also really struggling. Sometimes maybe we don't emphasize the struggle of the caregivers as much, and again another video for another day. But she was really struggling, and I wasn't dancing physically, because the movie was very sad. It was like valley here, valley here, mountain, like it was just highs and lows everywhere. But I was so happy when I saw that she finally had that conversation with Lino, because it eventually helped their marriage until another valley came. But it eventually helped their marriage in so many ways, when she was finally able to say, see guy, this is what's happening, and she was able to cry and express herself. Lino must have been a really amazing person, because the way he even handled it, it didn't make everything about him. That's very commendable, a lesson for all of us. Yes, he had 100% every right to. It must have even taken a lot for her to even be able to sneak in, oh, I don't feel so good about all these things, my life has changed, our lives have changed, this is not what we pictured. But that period where she was able to be honest and express herself to him and tell him, yeah, I don't feel so good about everything that's happening. It really helped their marriage, and we saw that from the series. We can see that from their story. So again, I'm here with another challenge. If you are married, in a relationship with your family, with your spouse, with your friends, and you are currently, maybe you're even the caregiver. Let me talk to the caregivers for a second. Let's say you're even the caregiver, you're the one taking care of somebody with a terminal illness, or even somebody with malaria, but you feel like you are also struggling. This is your cue to reach out, communicate, express yourself as considerately as you can. Yeah, it was very beautiful to see her eventually get to a place where she could say, yeah, this sucks, I don't feel good. Lino's response also made it easy. Their relationship in general they had very good communication in their relationship. Yeah, it flowed very beautifully. So yeah, so I hope I didn't spoil it too much for anybody that is watching and has not watched the actual series. I'm really sorry. You probably stopped if I was spoiling it so much. I'm really sorry. Yeah, so those are three of the things that jumped out to me. The power of family, the importance of communication, and the timeliness of forgiveness and reconciliation. I just felt like I needed to bring it to my YouTube channel and share with you guys. So let me know in the comments what struck out to you while you were watching it. If you've not watched it, do you plan to watch it, or are you just like, it's another Devour or something like that? No, this is actually it's very good. Devour was good too, but you get my point. So yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging with me again and spending time on my channel. I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful that you watched to this point, because I think it was pretty long. I'm grateful that you watched to this point. Thank you so much. Don't forget to watch other videos before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't. The subscribe button is no longer red, so it doesn't call out to you like it used to. It's now white. So please don't forget to subscribe, to turn on the notification bell so you can know when I drop new videos, to give this video a thumbs up, and to share with as many people as you can. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.